why I do that a million times, but I try to edit it all out. I think the microphone's on. Oh, let's check. It is, so we don't need to keep yelling. Hi everyone, I'm Jody and welcome to my channel. I'm really glad that you're here today so that we can talk about eyebrows. There's no eyebrows on today. Now, I do think that eyebrows can certainly help either age your appearance or make your appearance look a little bit more youthful and fresh. So we're gonna go ahead and do it together and then stay to the end because I do have a hack for multiple necklace wearing that you definitely want to stay. So we're gonna get right into it. And I do not have eyebrows on today. Can I just tell you how weird it was to do my makeup and then not do my eyebrows? It's just become a habit. And as I've said before, it's sort of like framing your face. And if I were to only have 2 makeup products, I have to say I would go for mascara and eyebrow pencil, hands down. Let me know in the comments below if you could only have 2 makeup items, what would that be? I'm curious to see if anybody else is as fanatic about their eyebrows as I am. So the way I used to do my brows, and it's not necessarily wrong, but it's 2 things. It's the shape and it's the color. So how I would have done it in the past is just with, typically I would have used an eyebrow pencil a little bit more like this to get a thicker, more coverage with the brush or the eyeliner pencil. Now, I am not a person that likes to do my brows with the gel, and I don't like to do my brows with gel because I just feel like it sort of melts throughout the day. And in order to keep a nice, crisp, hair looking mark, I just feel like gel sort of blends into the skin a little bit and melts, if that makes sense. So I'm not a big fan of these. I am gonna use it for this side, so just so you can get a sense of how I used to do my brows. I always comb them because I do think that definitely gives some look. Now, I do have microbladed eyebrows. Now, I microbladed them though in 2016, and you're supposed to get them redone every 2 or 3 years. And absolutely no disrespect to anybody in that industry. I think it's very hard work and it can look beautiful, and I loved them. The reason I'm not gonna do it again is simply because that microblading for your eyebrows is so painful. Now, in fairness, I did that in 2016, so maybe there's a better numbing cream that's available today because it's a little razor that they literally slice your skin for every hair of the blade to look like a hair of your eyebrow. It's so painful, I just couldn't. I'd love to, but I can't. So, until there is something that is pain-free that comes out that's more long-lasting, we're doing it with brow pencils because, hey, it washes off. So the way I would have done it before is just go across the bottom and give it a nice arch, with the arch being kind of the center of my eye, if you can. And I would go horizontal to give it the shape, which is a just nice upward brow like that. Arch it a little bit to give a little bit of an upward lift to the face. And then I would just follow it down and try to bring it to the distance of my corner of my eye. Now, not wrong at all. And it does look nice. And if you have these brows or you have them microbladed and that's the look that you have, perfectly normal, perfectly fine. But to me, there were 2 things that I thought I wanted to change about that brow. One was I felt like it had a little bit too much structure to the brow. I felt like it was just too boop, boop, and like that sound effect, there's probably a much better one I can put in. But nothing's wrong with that. And it's a nice looking brow. It's about a shade or 2 darker than my color. It's closer to my root color, which I would stay with that, only probably a little lighter. But again, not a bad looking brow. Happy with it. I'd wear that all day long. But I have been looking at trends and looking at like younger YouTubers and younger makeup applications to say, is that really the best application for an aging eye? So I took a younger trend, if you will, and modified it for more of my mature eye. Now, what I do instead is still spool it, a really nice comb, and I comb everything up just so that, and then right in the front, I just kind of comb it a little bit more sparse and give it a little bit of a different angle so that all the hair isn't gelled in one slicked back position. I'm really digging deep for some crazy words apparently today. And so I just kind of spool it up and give it a little bit more of an inward so that the hairs are going more in. That's the first thing. Then I've changed the type of pencil that I use, and I now use one that is much more fine point so that I can really make individual looking hairs, because that look of sort of a solid color is not what you're going for. In fact, I do think that that is something that can absolutely age your makeup application if you have more of a solid, because no one's eyebrows are solid one color. So you want to leave some skin underneath so that it looks like there's hair on top of your skin. Now, I've said before that eyebrows are meant to be sisters and not twins. And today they're probably going to look like, I don't know, 23andMe wouldn't even be able to identify them. But that's the point, is to make them look more fresh and youthful. So what I would do now is just take a real fine pencil, and instead of having one solid line, I would sort of dab it. And then instead of going up in a V shape, I'm going to bring it out more straight and sort of take out that V a little bit so that I get a little bit more fullness right above my eye. And then as I bring that down, again, little feathering strokes, I'm going to kick that out. Instead of coming down to follow it, I'm going to kick it out a little bit so that the end of it points more out, so that the end is more, instead of coming down like this, the tail of your eyebrow is a little bit more lifted. So normally it would be like here, I'm gonna bring it up here. So not down here, but up here. Because then as your eye looks at your eyebrow, it follows that line and it goes this way instead of this way. And then I just sort of fill that in across the top. Again, not going too heavy with a line, but a lot of feathery strokes to mimic the look of hairs. Now the color I did not change, so please don't feel like you need to run out and buy a different color eyebrow pencil. If it's 2 shades darker than your root, then yeah, you might want to go a shade lighter. If it's lighter than your root, then I would stick with maybe 1 shade lighter, but I wouldn't go too many shades lighter, because otherwise your brows have sort of lost themselves in your overall look, and you want to have that brow look for sure. So otherwise it just feels like your eyes are sort of floating on your face and they're not framed. So definitely you want to do your brows. I think, like I said, if I can only have 2 beauty products, hands down, mascara and brow pencil. So yeah, what would you guys have if you can only have two makeup items on a deserted island? Now, if I was to ask my fiance that question about anything other than makeup, I love him because he's a Virgo, and he would say things like, well, how long am I gonna be on the island? Am I able to have food already on the island? And starts eliminating so he can really give me a good answer. Let's just keep it much more simple than that. What would you take if you could only buy 2 makeup products? What would it be? Let's keep it simple. All right, so that is how I would do that, the shaping of it. This was really turning into more of a get ready with me chit chatty, but that's fine, because we've, just put me on in the background and do your own makeup or do your dishes, and we'll get this brow thing done today. Okay, so little bit of hairs in the front, spiking them up. Now the other thing I would do is, instead of having more of a solid color from beginning to end, is I would start a little bit lighter of the color of the hairs and then get it a little bit darker. So think ombre a little bit. And we saw that was a big trend back in 2017, 2018. I think it's still a nice look, but the biggest change is definitely the shape of the brow. Now, the next thing that I would recommend that you do, and this is a finishing touch that I try to do every time, is take any type of a real thin pencil. Now this is actually an eyebrow pencil. This is or an eyebrow brush. This is from NARS. And take your concealer. If you don't use concealer, then your foundation. Again, you don't need to go buy a new product for this, but I just get a little bit of that on the tip of my brush. And then I just go in and go right underneath that line so that I'm highlighting what that's gonna look like on both sides. Now what that does is just give a nice crisp highlight, and I will leave it there for just a second so that you guys can kind of see the difference, because I think that gives a really good illustration. Now I didn't used to do this as much, so bear with me if you're like, is that new? This part of it is sort of new. But that is a good way to highlight your brows, and we'll blend it in a second. I'm just gonna leave it like this for a second just so that you guys can get a sense of the difference of the shape between old version of how I would do my brows, and again, not bad, but for more of a refined, softer look, with the biggest change being this line here coming more straight and then this line coming more up. There's a little bit of that fox eye that I pulled that from, and I really do like the look of it. So that is what I would do there. So there you go, that's a pretty good look, right? And we should probably just like do a freeze frames right there so that you can tell the difference of older, newer. Then we don't leave it like that, we'll just take in our little blending brush and we will blend away that line. But I do still do that. I didn't just do that just for the purposes of demonstration. I do still highlight my brows that way. And then the other thing I do just as a finishing touch, and this really does not take however long this video is taking, it's a much faster process. I am just talking way too much, but you know, after the year we all had last year and with so much going on in our lives, there should be just more of these beauty videos than just, here's how you do your makeup, now go do it. Just like, let's just talk, let's just talk. Then the last thing I would do is take, again, your concealer, foundation, whatever it is. This is a final step. This is before I go to my lips, is go back into that a little bit, and then I just take from the corner of my eye and just clean that up a little bit so that you have more of a defined line of your eyeshadow. And that's a real easy way just to sort of clean it up and give it a nice polished, brightened look. What also gives you a little bit of a lift to your eyes. But don't stab yourself in the eye like I just did. So there you go, you guys. Can you sort of tell a difference? Older version, newer version. I think if you were to just look from here to here, got all my little, wow, look at these little tools I'm using. But I do think that that gives a little bit of a difference of appearance between your eyebrows. Super easy change. Last thing you can do if you want to do is to just put a little bit of an eyebrow gel to have them stay. If you love that position, then have them stay for the duration of your day. The other thing I would note is that if you don't have an eyebrow gel, no problem. Don't go run out and buy one. Just get a little bit of hairspray on the brush of your eyebrow pencil and just brush it the way you want it. It's exactly pretty much the same thing. All right, so I really do like that new look. I think it just looks a little bit more fresh and happy and welcoming. Why would eyebrows be welcoming? I don't know. Then the last thing I wanted to tell you about was a little bit of a hack. So we all know that the layered jewelry has been in for a while, and none of the fashion shows for fall, Victoria Beckham, for example, Jason Wu, Alexander McQueen, they all had some layer of a necklace in their fall fashion shows. So I think it's a trend that's going to stick around for a little while longer. What I would say is it's difficult to layer them without them getting all tangled. So a few things that you can do. One is if you have a necklace that has a solid back to it, like this heart does. I love hearts. Just love them. Then you can just take a little bit of, I just take a little bit of my eyebrow gel or a little bit of hairspray, and I just dab it on the back of that necklace and then put it right where I want it to go. And then it sort of helps it stay in that place. Now, if you're out dancing or, you know, moving around a lot, it may not hold up that well, but if you're going to be in an office or behind the camera on Zoom, it works great. The other thing that you can do is, and I order these just on Amazon, is you can order these little necklace. The lady at Nordstrom actually told me about these and they didn't sell them. But it's a little necklace jewelry holder. It's a little jewelry clasp, necklace clasp. And this one, for example, has two. So you can see you just put your necklace through there and it holds two. There's some that holds three. They have gold ones, they have silver ones. So really handy. Now, the thing about these is the older I get, or maybe it's because of my nails, it's just hard to hook those. And every day to put on 2 or 3 different necklaces on this thing didn't seem like very much fun. I tried it and I didn't like it. So I don't really use that often, but it is a very handy thing to have if you're going to layer multiple necklaces and you are going to go out for a night or something, or if you do want to take the time to do that. I just didn't feel like fighting with it. So that was the beauty tip. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you enjoy this video and this tutorial on your eyebrows, and give yourself an updated, refreshed look for fall and carry it on through winter. So thanks so much for being here. Send me a comment what your 2 things would be, your 2 beauty products. Make sure you subscribe to this video if you like it, because a new video comes out every week and you don't want to miss it. I give you updates on all the current trends, latest beauty products, and things that you definitely don't want to miss out on. So this can be your one-stop shopping for all things beauty, fashion, and life after 40. Thanks guys, have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.